At the very beginning of the story, we see a veterinarian named Doug who enters a chimpanzee's cage to administer medication. That chimpanzee's name is Ben, and he didn't look healthy at all. Doug keeps calling out to him to give him his medicine, but Ben isn't coming. Instead, Ben has gone into hiding. When Doug tries to approach Ben, Ben suddenly attacks him, and the attack was so violent that Doug could never have imagined it. Ben literally peels the skin right off his face. But Ben was never that kind of animal. He used to be very friendly. So what actually happened? To find out, we need to go back 36 hours. The main character of the story is Lucy. She's returning home after finishing college after many years. Her best friend Kate is with her. They're on a plane. After all, Lucy is going home after so long and they plan to have a party there. That's exactly why she invited Kate, and Kate also invited her other friend, Hannah, without telling Lucy. On that same flight, they also meet two guys, Drew and Brad. They were also heading to Hawaii, and they all exchange glances and start flirting a little with each other. Anyway, they finally reach their destination. There, a guy named Nick has come to pick up the girls. Nick is also a very old friend of theirs. So they all finally arrive at Lucy's house by car. It's a beautiful palace-like home, and the very first person Lucy meets is her father, Adam, who is absolutely overjoyed to see Lucy. Adam cannot speak and cannot hear, but he's a renowned novelist. The film shows a brilliant detail that whenever Adam appears on screen, no background music is used at all. Only ambient sounds are used, as they should be. Like the sound of birds, the sound of water, that's it. There's no cinematic feel to it. Instead, there's a sense of complete stillness. So it feels as though this person truly cannot hear anything, that everything around him is blank, an absolute void. Anyway, Lucy introduces her friends to her father. Then Lucy reunites with her younger sister Erin. Erin is a little sad that Lucy hasn't come to visit in so long. As mentioned, after all, she's returning home after many years. But it's not just Erin who's happy to see Lucy. Their beloved pet Ben is also overjoyed. Lucy has even brought a teddy bear as a gift for Ben. Now Ben is incredibly intelligent. He understands everything. He even communicates with everyone through a sound pad he keeps with him. Lucy's mother was a linguistic who passed away many years ago. She was the one who brought Ben into this home. And now things start to make sense. The answers fall into place as to why Lucy's father is a deaf and mute person. Since her mother studied language and her father communicates through sign language, it's very likely that's how they met each other. On the other hand, Ben, being a chimpanzee, also communicates through sign language, obviously. He too was brought in by Lucy's mother. That same night, Hannah and Nick meet quietly on their own. They've actually started developing feelings for each other. And it's through Nick we learn the story of Lucy's mother, that she was a linguistics professor who wanted to bridge communication between humans and chimpanzees. And by the way, will we humans ever learn our lesson? I mean, you've all seen Planet of the Apes, right? In those films, experimenting on chimpanzees eventually made them smarter than humans, and they ended up conquering the entire world. Well, if you'd like me to explain those movies too, don't forget to let me know in the comments.
So Hannah is wandering around the house, taking it all in, looking at everything. As mentioned, it's like a grand palace. Lucy's family is extremely wealthy. Hannah finds herself near the swimming pool, but suddenly she notices Ben right beside her. Ben is staring at the water in a strange, fixed way, drool dripping from his mouth, looking visibly unwell. Ben reaches his hand out toward Hannah. Hannah takes it, thinking Ben is just a family pet. He was acting friendly just a little while ago. So what could possibly go wrong? But suddenly, Ben grabs her hand tightly and squeezes hard. Hannah's hand is hurting and she starts crying out. But fortunately, Adam, Lucy's father, happens to be there and he blows a whistle to calm Ben down. He explains that Ben behaves a little oddly around strangers. Anyway, he takes Ben away to Ben's enclosure where Ben is kept. And there, he spots a dead mongoose which had apparently bitten Ben. Adam takes the dead mongoose and leaves, locking the cage behind him obviously. He then informs his daughters about what happened, that he's sending the mongoose's body for testing. Meanwhile, he's also calling Doug, the veterinarian, to come and fix up Ben's wound, patch up the enclosure and give Ben an antibiotic shot. And until then, no one is to open Ben's cage. Anyway, after all that, the group does what they'd been waiting to do. They throw a party. The film also gives us a bird's eye view of the property through which we understand just how isolated this place truly is. There are no other homes, no people anywhere nearby. If they get into trouble, no help would come anytime soon. So these young people are having a great time partying, but their group feels a little small. They feel like they need more people. That's why they decide to invite those two guys they met on the fight. I mean, they've even managed to track down one of their Instagram accounts by searching around. So they send them an invitation to come over to the house. Everyone's tired by now and they've all gone to bed for the night. Meanwhile, Doug, the veterinarian, has arrived to check on Ben. And what happens next? Well, we already saw it at the very beginning of the story. Ben attacks Doug and peels the skin right off his face. Not only that, Ben's cage also comes open and Ben escapes out of it. And now the real chaos begins. Kate was wandering around late at night, scrolling her phone. She suddenly spots the teddy bear, the one Lucy had gifted Ben. And the very next moment, she sees Ben right beside her. His behavior seems very strange, drool dripping from his mouth, looking almost feral and aggressive. Kate is terrified. She immediately calls out to Lucy and Lucy comes running. Lucy finds the teddy bear with blood on it, but Ben is nowhere to be seen. Where is Ben? And then, the very next moment, they hear Hannah and Nick screaming. They rush over and see that near the swimming pool, Ben is trying to attack them. Ben's behavior is getting increasingly alarming. He's becoming more and more aggressive. Lucy can't quite figure out what actually happened. Ben is trying to show them his wound with his hands, the spot where the mongoose had bitten him. But right after that, his behavior shifts completely, as though the chimpanzee has entirely lost his mind.
Hannah immediately says that this chimpanzee should be killed right now or should be shot. But of course, these words hurt Lucy and the others deeply because they love Ben very much. But given the situation right now, calming Ben down is absolutely necessary. But how are they going to do it? There happens to be a rope nearby and they plan to use it to tie Ben up because getting him back into his cage isn't possible at this moment. But the moment they tie him up, another problem erupts immediately. Ben becomes even more aggressive, even more enraged. They decide to call Doug Lambert, the veterinarian. But the strange thing is, they can hear Doug's phone ringing, yet nobody is picking it up. Doug isn't responding at all. We know why. Ben has already killed Doug back in his cage. Meanwhile, Ben, who had been tied up with a rope, bites clean through it and breaks free. And immediately he bites Erin, Lucy's sister. Somehow they manage to push Ben aside and jump directly into the swimming pool with Erin because Ben can't swim and the sight of water is frightening him. At first they were trying to figure out what happened to Ben, why he's behaving like this. But looking at the state of his face and eyes and watching the way he's acting, they realize Ben has rabies and he's already bitten Erin. Without immediate treatment, things are going to get very bad. What do they do now? Ben is right there beside them. He looks like one of those bloodthirsty monsters from the movies, as though he won't rest until he's killed every single one of them.
Nick comes up with a plan. He'll push Ben into the swimming pool. Since their swimming pool sits right at the edge of a cliff, if Ben goes over, he'll fall to his death below. Nick goes through with the plan, but it fails completely. The moment Nick tries to push Ben over, Ben grabs him instead and throws him over the edge. And logically speaking, Ben is a chimpanzee. His grip is far stronger than any human's, so Ben doesn't go anywhere. Instead, Nick plummets from that great height and dies on impact.
Ben can't enter the water either. He's terrified of it, so he keeps pacing around the edge of the swimming pool, waiting and watching for when the people will come out. Meanwhile, Lucy spots a pool float nearby, which they can hold on to stay afloat. But it's outside the pool. Getting past Ben to retrieve it is going to be incredibly difficult. On the other side, Hannah notices that her phone is lying nearby in a spot she can reach. So Lucy seizes the chance, grabs the phone and quietly dives back into the pool. Unfortunately, due to all the struggle and chaos, Hannah's phone screen has cracked. The touch isn't responding properly and the keypad isn't functioning correctly either. So dialing a specific number or calling an emergency line simply isn't possible. Out of options, Hannah ends up calling the most recent number on her phone, which happens to be those boys they met at the airport. Now Hannah tries to explain to them that they're in danger, that they're in serious trouble, but those guys aren't paying any attention. They're somewhere at a party having the time of their lives. But on the other side, something else has been happening. Ben is going absolutely berserk trying to get to the girls. He obviously can't jump into the water, but there are lights hanging above the pool, and he climbs right along them, reaches Hannah and attacks her. He yanks her hair out and knocks the phone right out of her hand, back into the pool, and the phone dies instantly upon hitting the water.
Meanwhile, Adam, Lucy's father, is at an event. His newly written book has just been published. He's there signing autographs for everyone. At that moment, a call comes in for him. It's the report on that dead mongoose he'd sent in for testing. They inform him that they found rabies in the sample. Adam is a little confused. There is no rabies anywhere in Hawaii. So could the test report actually be wrong? Either way, doubt has begun to creep into his mind, and he immediately tries to call Lucy. But Lucy and her friends are all trapped inside the swimming pool. There's simply nobody there to answer the phone. On the other side, time keeps passing. Ben had bitten Erin. She needs immediate medical attention. If help doesn't arrive, things are going to go very wrong. Lucy says that she has to do something now. Nick's phone was charging in the living room nearby. She needs to get there. But this time, Lucy isn't going alone. Her friend Kate is going with her. Fortunately, Ben isn't there at that moment. He's wandered off somewhere outside. Some might even think Ben has perhaps died. Either way, Lucy and Kate tiptoe their way carefully over to the living room. Lucy finds Nick's phone there too, but then accidentally, Lucy steps on the TV remote and the television switches on. The noise from the TV brings Ben straight back. Lucy and Kate immediately hide inside a closet and watch what Ben does. Ben has truly become terrifyingly violent. The very first thing he does is smash the television, because that's where the noise was coming from. Watching Ben do this, they're absolutely shaking with fear. They're hiding inside the closet, and then a small sound comes from inside, and Ben hears it. He even tries to break into the closet and peek inside to see what's there, but fortunately, he doesn't spot anything. After some time, the two girls come out of the closet assuming Ben has left, but Ben had been hiding there all along. As mentioned before, this is a semi-intelligent creature. He knows exactly what he's doing. He attacks Lucy first. Kate helps her, and together they try to slam the door shut and escape from there. But Ben smashes right through the glass door and gets back out. Lucy manages to flee, but unfortunately, Kate trips and falls. She's caught by Ben, and Ben picks up a rock and beats Kate's face with it until she is dead. Then Ben gives chase, going after Lucy. Right at that moment, Hannah arrives to help Lucy. The rope that had been used to tie Ben earlier is still there. They loop it around Ben's neck and try to drag him toward the swimming pool to throw him in. Since their swimming pool sits right at the edge of a cliff, if they can get Ben over the edge, he'll fall to his death below. But unfortunately, before they can manage it, Ben yanks the rope right out of their hands and frees himself. And logically speaking, as mentioned before, Ben is physically far stronger than them. His grip strength is immense. They simply cannot beat him in a fight of raw strength. Meanwhile, on the other side, Adam is still at that event. Today is a very special day for him, but his mind keeps drifting back to his home. He keeps calling Lucy over and over, messaging his daughter, and getting no response. He's worried, and so he decides to leave, heading back home. On the other side, those two guys that Hannah had called, Drew and Brad, had actually been sent their location quite a long time ago. And now, in their drunken state, they've finally shown up. They're here. They think they've come here to party a little, but the entire house looks completely empty. They search the entire house thoroughly, upstairs and downstairs, every corner, and they have absolutely no idea whatsoever that death itself is wandering around inside that very house. Drew, wandering around, ends up in a room where he spots a photo of Lucy with a chimpanzee. He wonders, can someone actually keep a chimpanzee as a pet? And right at that very moment, Ben walks into the room. Naturally, Drew is a little frightened, especially because Ben's behavior is noticeably aggressive. And then, what happens next is exactly what was always going to happen. Drew tries talking to Ben, tries reasoning with him, tries to get him to settle down, but Ben has completely and utterly lost it. He grabs Drew's face and rips his jaw completely off, and then plays around with it. Meanwhile, Brad wanders over and ends up in front of the swimming pool. There he sees the girls and assumes they're probably just passed out from drinking, but the girls urgently tell him to keep quiet. Brad can't figure out at all what's actually going on, but by then, Ben has already arrived on the scene, and he throws Drew's torn-off jaw right at Brad. Brad immediately understands that something has gone very, very wrong here. Ben acts Brad right then and there, and what happens next is inevitable. What was going to happen, happens. Ben kills Brad, and he does it in a brutally savage way. Meanwhile, Hannah sees her opportunity and tries to escape while Ben is occupied. She slips out of the house and runs straight to a car, planning to take it and drive away. That's her plan. But unfortunately, she's gotten into the wrong car. The key in her hand belongs to the car parked right beside it, and getting back out to switch to the right car is extremely difficult with Ben prowling around nearby. Well, Hannah quickly grabs her own phone and dials the emergency number. She tries to explain to the police what's happening here, that a chimpanzee is chasing after them. But while she's still in the middle of trying to explain all this, time has already run out. Ben is outside, and he has the remote key to the very car that Hannah is sitting inside, and he knows exactly how that remote works, how to unlock the car, everything. And that ends up being Hannah's downfall. Ben gets into the car and kills Hannah right there inside it. And now comes the final moment. Lucy realizes that she simply cannot keep waiting any longer. How long can they keep floating around inside that swimming pool? She has to get out. There's no other way. Lucy does step out, but shards of glass are scattered all over the place. One piece of glass pierces her foot. She can't make any noise, so she silently, carefully pulls it out.
On the other side, Adam has also returned home. As mentioned, whenever things are shown from Adam's perspective, everything goes completely silent. Everything is blank. There's a sense of a void, an emptiness. All the massive chaos and carnage that has happened in this house leaves almost no obvious trace for him to see. Adam enters the house and finds things in disarray. He assumes his daughter and her friends probably made this mess. He has absolutely no idea what has actually happened here. Lucy spots her father and tries to call out to him, but Adam can't hear. Instead, Ben appears and attacks Lucy. And this time, Lucy's injured sister Erin comes running to help her. But, as has been said before, they cannot win against Ben in any physical confrontation. More or less, what follows is a cat-and-mouse game. They try every way they can think of to avoid Ben and keep out of his reach. But then, right at that moment, Adam appears on the scene. He starts blowing that whistle and Ben goes quiet. Though he doesn't really calm down, because this Ben is no longer the Ben he used to be. He is no longer in control of himself. He attacks Adam. A fierce struggle breaks out between them. It's essentially a 3-versus-1 fight happening right there. But Adam seizes the right moment and drives a broken wine bottle deep into Ben's chest, and Ben collapses, completely senseless. Even so, he doesn't die. He gets back up one more time and tries to attack them again. But this time, Ben doesn't succeed. He lunges towards Lucy, but Adam throws himself in front of her and saves her. And Ben goes tumbling off their balcony, falling directly onto a sharp piece of wood below. A piece of furniture had broken apart, leaving a jagged wooden shard sticking straight up, and Ben lands right on top of it. And finally, he dies. In short, one long nightmarish night of terror finally comes to an end. The police arrive right at the very last moment. They take Erin away, who needs immediate treatment. And then Lucy hears a sound coming from Ben's soundpad, and she trembles all over again. The police have found the device, and it appears to have malfunctioned. And from it, only one phrase keeps repeating: Lucy bad. This scene has only one meaning, not that Ben will somehow return or anything like that. Rather, it means that the terror Ben has left behind will live on inside Lucy in the form of trauma for the rest of her life. And the sound of that pad is something she will never, ever forget.